This is Hot Mike with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks to our guy, Drew Travis, for joining us, taking some hits there in that last segment. It is Wednesday at 9:35, which for our hardcore viewers out there, if you don't know, we switched our next guest. He's going to join us each and every Wednesday throughout the football season and beyond, because there's never news that doesn't happen in football season. Sam Herder joins us from FCS, BetMGM, and Hero Sports to give us everything going on in FCS football. There's no shortage of things to talk about. We're 8 days out from games being played, a week from tomorrow. There's games on Thursday night, which we'll preview in full a week from today. But the news that I think resonated throughout college football yesterday wasn't just FCS restricted, Sam, was in Villanova. And we have talked about the Pat McQuaid story, I think, since Villanova got eliminated last December. Was he eligible? Was he going to come back? We didn't know. Then in April, we think, okay, he's eligible to play. Then the Patriot League comes down, that's Villanova's new conference, and says, no, you're ineligible. This is a wild story.
It is, yeah, and it's really grabbed the national attention as well, because this could in some way set precedents to conference-wide governance rules, and that is kind of what, if the Protect College Sports Act, if that doesn't go through, I think option B for like the SEC and the Big Ten is just say, we'll just create our own rules because, I don't know all the legalese, but it's easier to sue the NCAA over some ruling compared to a conference because a conference is a bit more ironclad with a smaller amount of teams. Yep. With the Patriot League denying the waiver, I guess, for Pat McQuaid, that's certainly something that people are going to be paying attention to see if that does hold up, because I'm guessing they're going to try to fight that in courts as well. But I think I don't know the specific Patriot League rules on why they won't allow him to play, but I've heard like Lehigh has a few guys that have been trying to gain an extra year of eligibility, and I've heard that the Patriot League has denied some of them, but they accepted one of them. But that hasn't gone official just yet. So I don't know, all the ins and outs of why some would be able to come back and others won't be able to. And you also run the risk. I think what teams are finding out are, like right now, if a guy uses 4 years of eligibility in 4 years, and now the courts are now allowing that person to come back for a fifth year, the NCAA is actively trying to reverse that. Yes. And so if a guy is playing for his fifth year in week 3 and all of a sudden the NCAA gets that reversal, now is that guy off the team? And will the NCAA say any games that this guy played in, you're going to forfeit? Yeah. That's what the Patriot League told Villanova. If McQuaid plays in any games, you're going to forfeit those games. So it's a tough balancing act for teams.
So McQuaid's attorney, Richard Hamilton, said it's an extraordinary move. No conference has done it. I have no idea why the Patriot League has insinuated itself into it, and have no idea why the Patriot League believes that it, and not the court, is the final arbiter on who plays and who doesn't after a valid court injunction. That's the basis, obviously, what they're going to try and, I would imagine, appeal this and sue the Patriot League is probably next. Here's the part on the football side of it. Villanova plays a game a week from Friday, and now if they assume that McQuaid was their guy, now it's all up in the air again.
Yeah, I think they've been preparing for both scenarios where, if I don't know if they've operated under the assumption that McQuaid was for sure going to be the starter, but he has been practicing. But I also think they've rotated in some of their other guys to take first team reps. I know they have a true freshman that they really like. But yeah, I mean we're in crunch time now, and yeah, it's just crazy what college football or college sports in general has turned into. And like the Patriot League is a bit unique because most of their teams allow grad transfers, but I think or grad players, I should say. I think Georgetown is one that doesn't. But like the Ivy League, even if you have a fifth year available, like the Ivy League doesn't allow graduate players. And so you see a lot of Ivy League guys after 4 years transfer to the FBS because they need to go somewhere else for their fifth year. So that's why I think like the Patriot League's decision could be a bit more ironclad compared to maybe the NCAA wide decision.
It's just remarkable that we're in this spot. You've been tweeting out different announcements from other schools welcoming back guys. I mean, it's mid-August, Sam. Like these guys they're just hanging around and then they're eligible to play. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, AJ Pena, he was from Rhode Island, defensive end, edge player. He was the CAA Defensive Player of the Year last year. He's back practicing. Will he actually play? I don't know, because I'm pretty sure he signed a CFL contract, or at least he was on a squad. Maybe he didn't sign a contract. I don't know. Kelby Givens from Southern, really good defensive end. He's now back as well. Still waiting on, SFA. Kylan Harris, potentially he could be coming back. Lehigh's wide receiver, Jeffrey Jamil, he could potentially be coming back. Those are two All-American wide receivers. I've heard those are looking promising, but I keep on refreshing their bio pages and it still says 2025. And then UND has 3 defensive back starters that as of right now are practicing. They're on the roster. They expect them to play. Significant players as well. I think they're going to play, but maybe the rug gets pulled out from underneath them. I have no idea.
That Avery Scott we talked about, Johnny Wiltshire, another one. They're huge pieces of the UND defense if they are allowed to play. And that's, again, the Fighting Hawks have their first game a week from tomorrow. It's not like we're in the middle of July. It's August 19th. It's remarkable that this is the big storyline that's surrounding a bunch. It's not just FCS teams. There's a bunch of FBS teams that are doing the same thing too.
Yeah, and it's why the Protect College Sports Act is far from perfect, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it seems like 95% of college sports wants this to pass. Yet things happen in DC where it's like, well, if you vote yes, then you have to vote yes for this other thing and then this thing, and they just can't get it done. And so it's just, something needs to happen where we're not dealing with this, like you said, a week before games actually start.
Just wild out there. What other headlines have caught your attention that's going on over the last little bit?
Yeah, I think, fall camp or preseason camp storylines. Austin Majeski sounds like he's taken the reins to be South Dakota's starting quarterback. Now, that's not official yet. It sounds like Matt Bitzlam's, his strategy was to give all 3 of the quarterbacks, and they have 3 good options, 4, 5, 6 practices to see who takes the reins, and then go with a guy. Not necessarily say you are for sure our day 1 starter, but as of right now, you're our QB1. Let's see how you handle it. It sounds like all 3 quarterbacks have had good moments and bad moments, but right now it seems like they might be going with the redshirt freshman who was a 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year in high school in Colorado, 6'5", big arm as well. So that is one storyline. Another one as well, Alec Wills from Montana State, a cornerback. He suffered a season-ending injury. It's pretty significant in the fact that there's a lot of unknowns at that cornerback position for Montana State. He was a transfer coming in from Penn who played 600 plus snaps. So he brought in great experience. Unfortunately, he won't be available. But I think just with how Montana State has recruited that position, it's a significant injury, but it's not necessarily a difference-making injury for the Cats.
You wrote a column on UND, and I was really interested in that, and I'm high on UND. I think they could be the team to win the league in the Missouri Valley Football Conference this year, and you had a great line in it that UND has been an almost program for too long, and you're exactly right. They've had some good players. They've won 7 games. They've won 8. They haven't been able to get over that hump, and maybe this is the year with the kind of talent they have on both offense and defense to do that in 2026.
Yeah, that line brought me back to high school basketball where my coach, Arlie Ohm, would always say, don't be an almost player. Like, you don't want to be the player that almost made that play, or you almost got that steal and you whiffed on it and, kind of left the rest of the defense out to dry. And I think that kind of, like, UND has been an almost program where they've almost risen the ranks to be like a legit FCS contender. And each of the last 3 seasons, they've risen into the top 10, whether it was after beating NDSU a few years ago or 2 years ago, they beat Montana. Last year, they were, I think, 6-2 and ranked in the top 10. Yep. But each of those years, they've either ended in the mid-teens, or I think it was 2 years ago, they ended unranked. And so they've gotten into the top 10. They just couldn't stay there. And the point of my column was, will they be able to stay there this year? Because they are preseason number 10 in the media poll and the coaches poll. I think they're going to keep on rising up because their first 6 FCS games, they should win against unranked teams. And then they end the year with, I think it's 5 straight unranked team, or excuse me, 5 straight ranked teams. And so I could see UND, they keep on winning. Other teams are losing. UND could be 5, 6, 7 in the rankings by mid-October. The question is, can they stay there, and can they instead of almost beating highly ranked teams, can they actually beat those teams and stay highly ranked and set themselves up with a high playoff?
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, when you look at what their schedule, and you talked about up the front, I mean, they got like Portland State and Long Island and St. Thomas, Murray and Northern Iowa. They're all on the front side of it. Indiana State, that the only outlier is the FBS game with Nebraska. They should be 6-1 by the time they hit the back end, which includes the Jackrabbits, South Dakota, Illinois State, SIU, a couple of those games. South Dakota State is up in Grand Forks. They got to win we've talked about it, how different they are at home. They got to do that. They do that, then we're talking a high playoff seed in 2026.
Absolutely, yeah. And if they play clean football, I think they could be within striking distance of Nebraska in the fourth quarter and be in that game. And, I could see a situation where all of a sudden, like FBS football fans are starting to tweet about like, hey, it's 24-21 right now. Nebraska's winning in the fourth quarter. Pay attention to this game because UND has the ball. We saw that last year. They nearly beat Kansas State. And, I don't know if necessarily they'll win, but through 7 weeks, we might be talking about the quality loss for UND because if they keep it close at Nebraska, that might tell us more about the Hawks compared to beating up on Portland State or LIU. But yeah, those final 5-ish weeks are going to be really key for the Hawks.
Fighting Hawk fans do not want to hear the word quality loss ever again after what happened.
Exactly. Don't almost win.
Exactly right. Appreciate the time as always. Next week, we're talking actual games. We'll be a day away from football games happening. Thanks for the time as always, bud. Be well. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
There he is. Sam Herder joins us each and every Wednesday. New time slot for Sam throughout the football season. We're talking FCS ball, folks. We won't abandon it, but some good stuff there. The Villanova thing is wild, and that's where decision-making sounds like it's heading, because I think the Protect College Sports Act is done. If it didn't happen before recess, and it didn't in the Senate, that I just don't think it's going to happen. That now it be incumbent on conferences we're going to make up our rules then. And if you're out of eligibility because we're going to enforce the 5-for-5 thing, then you're done. Granted, you can still sue, but them being private entities might work better than the NCAA at large, because certainly that has not worked. Okay, let's break. We come back with a few emails to get to. We'll wrap up our first hour. Mark Johnson coming up in hour 2 to get us ready for the Bobcat, which tees off tomorrow. Hot Mic rolls on a Wednesday morning. We're back right after this.